Okay, folks, welcome to Building 9. Here at NASA, we call it the Space Vehicle Mock-up Facility, or just Astronaut Training Facility for short. This is the building where models and mock-ups of all kinds of spacecraft, robots, and space stations are created for testing and training purposes. Since 1980, every NASA astronaut has walked the floors of this building in preparation for their next mission. Currently, the team is using this building for astronaut training and updating hardware for our current space station missions, as well as preparing for the next generation of spaceflight, the Artemis program. The large white and gray cylinders you see here are a full-scale mock-up of the International Space Station. These are what we call low-fidelity mock-ups, which means NASA uses these to train astronauts in basic safety or storage procedures on the ISS. The ISS, the International Space Station, is the largest orbiting laboratory ever built and is roughly the size of an American football field. The ISS is a global partnership with 15 different countries and 5 space agencies, which have been working for over 20 years to create the most prominent international peacetime collaboration in history. This multinational approach to space travel has built the foundation for the Artemis Accords, which will set new terms for the future space exploration. In 2020, astronauts began launching from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida using a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket instead of relying on the Russian Soyuz for transportation to and from the ISS. SpaceX is one of the companies participating in NASA's Commercial Crew Program, which began in 2014. In front of the window, you can see a mock-up of a white capsule of the Boeing Starliner. The Boeing Starliner, which recently launched to the ISS, is another capsule, a part of NASA's commercial space fleet, alongside vehicles from SpaceX, Northrop Grumman, Sierra Nevada, and other private companies. Collaborating with these commercial companies allows NASA to focus more time on developing new spacecraft that will allow us to establish new projects on the moon than travel to Mars. So at this time, please take any last photos before we move down to the second half of the hallway.
Contract. Federal contract. Like Lucky.
Oh, and ours would be more in our modernized stuff would be in big test labs. So it would be further down here where they do more of their testing.
My dad's stuff from his work is here. That's cool. I think that's his stuff. Dream Chaser. This black thing right in the center of the screen is Dream Chaser. I know this video is supposed to be about rocket engines, but I just had to add this in here. Oh man, can I have one? Sarcasm. That's awesome. Oh yeah. Soyuz? Yeah. Don't have to use you anymore. We have a Falcon 9. I can't believe I've been using that thing since 1960. I'm surprised it hasn't broken yet. Oh. Zavada. The very first module on the space station. Check out their workspace. This will probably look like my garage in the future. Boeing Starliner. Look at that. America's next commercial capsule. It almost looks like they got rid of the space shuttle cockpit. So they were making room. Huh. This looks like a mock-up of Gateway, I'm thinking. Oh, a little model space shuttle. It's adorable. Oh wow, that's actually pretty big. I want it.
If you look towards the back, you'll see a silver capsule marked with the Orion logo. This is the Orion Command Module. Engineers and astronauts have been doing extensive research and training to prepare the capsule like this for crewed Artemis missions around the moon. Artemis 1 launched on November 16th on a 25-day mission to test Orion's capabilities in lunar orbit. While this mission remains uncrewed, the valuable scientific research on board will provide insight for safe crewed missions scheduled to begin in 2024. Orion builds upon the design and experience of the earlier Apollo spacecraft. Unlike Apollo, Orion is both autonomous and reusable. It is also much larger and capable of carrying 4 astronauts in deep space. For a closer look, you can visit the full-size Orion research model in the Mission to Mars exhibit back in Space Center Houston. Right in front of the Orion Right in front of Orion, you will see a large gray tube-like structure. This mock-up is part of the lunar orbital platform called Gateway. Gateway is another international partnership program which will benefit all humans on Earth. The section in front of us is one of the habitat modules where astronauts can live and conduct research in lunar orbit, much like they are currently doing in orbit around the Earth on the ISS. Gateway is a critical part of the Artemis program. When completed, it will establish a permanent human presence in lunar orbit. Material from the moon will be transformed into power for Gateway operations. This will allow astronauts to stay in lunar orbit for up to 60 days at a time. This efficiency will make it possible for astronauts aboard Gateway to organize extended missions to the lunar surface and eventually allow Gateway to serve as a midway refueling point for future missions to Mars. That does conclude our tour of the astronaut training facility. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves and learned a little bit more about the scientific marvels being developed here at Johnson Space Center. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask once we go downstairs, and I will do my best to answer them. You will then return to your original seat on the tram. Thank you for your time and attention. Please carefully follow me downstairs.
Oh, there's one of the concept landers, I think. I think that's a concept lander. Huh. I think it was called the Alpaca lander. I don't know why they called it the Alpaca.
It's changed since we were here last year.
Yeah, they got rid of the space shuttle cockpit. Yeah. Space shuttle has been out of service since 2011. Makes sense.
Case, where's your
I
bag?
guess not.
Who's somebody else?
Oh man, that's
right.
Gateway, Orion. No, the concept lander.
Mitsubishi attached.
He's awesome. He's wow.
That is awesome. They have some other. Look at this, some other cool stuff. I guess we'll get there in just a second.
Wait, that's what he said he was free. I'm like,
Okay.
This is awesome. Wow. Check out their workspace. Pretty fancy. That machine can lift a ton of weight. Like, I think it was like what? Like 1,000 pounds? 10,000 pounds? I don't know. Not familiar with it. Not familiar with the weightlifting stuff. Huh. Where would this wall be? Oh boy. They have helmets. It makes me wonder what they're doing here. Well, today's not one of the work days, so that's why we're not seeing any employees here working on the Viper, the space exploration vehicle, Orion, or Gateway. This is really awesome. This is like my 8th time seeing this. It never gets old. So cool. Look, there's a little rover over there. Little rover. We should nearly zoom in though. Oh, that's so cool.